What is going on, guys? We are back with another video, and we are doing another What If, and this one comes from a longtime viewer. You are gonna screw me with his name. Zane, I guess? It's Z-A-N-Y-Y, and he says, don't know if you saw my comment or not already, which I did, but you should make an experiment on the Falcons not trading up to get Julio Jones. Now, at first I was like, oh, what an amazing idea. Then afterwards I was like, okay, this might not work great for a video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to not redraft for the Falcons, but I am going to, let's say, make a couple selections that I think are somewhat fair. But if you didn't know somehow, the Falcons didn't just simply draft Julio Jones. They had the 27th pick in the first round of the 2011 draft. They saw a guy named Julio Jones that they could not pass on. So what else to do than to get a great player, than to trade with the Browns, screwing them out once again of a great selection, potentially. Obviously, they would have messed it up themselves, probably. But the Falcons, they sent their first-round pick, 27th overall, which I believe the Browns traded up to get Phil Taylor. Then a second-round pick, which I believe was Greg Little for the Browns. Ugh. Then a fourth-round pick in 2011 as well. Don't remember what the pick was. It wasn't really relevant. Then the Falcons also traded another first-round pick for the next year into fourth-round pick. This 22nd pick was taken by the Browns to select Brandon Weeden. If you guys don't remember Brandon Weeden, he was a complete scrub quarterback who entered the draft at, like, what was it, 26 or 28 years old? Either or, very old. And I mean, I don't know. It's all a mystery from there. But of course, if we're going to make the argument that the Falcons would have drafted just as poorly as the Browns, then of course they clearly won the trade with Julio Jones, even if they would have drafted really well. The question is, did they still make the correct decision? And obviously, to kind of see what, how it affects both teams, we are going to be simulating a season and then going on to the adjusted reality, the altered reality version, where I get to kind of select picks. I didn't choose all the best players I could have had, just players I think that would make sense, and just to make it kind of fun, because if I just made it where the Browns, the Falcons got those Browns players, it'd be kind of stupid, because if the Falcons traded all of that to go for Julio Jones, they clearly aren't that stupid at drafting like the Browns are, let's be honest. They're absolutely horrendous. By the way, if this video gets 100 likes, we will be posting another NFL draft redo within a day or two, so that would be much appreciated. We went 11-5, 12-4 are the Saints, who take the division, surprisingly, although that very well could happen this year. Falcons are not playing too hot. You can see we didn't sim win. Don't really have an agenda for this. I don't know why it would really matter, but don't know how this is going to affect the Browns. It should make them better, clearly, but how much better? I think they actually were okay. 7-9, not absolutely horrendous. Let's take a look at the stats. MVP for Tom Brady. Matt Ryan, 39 touchdowns, 13 picks, 4,200 yards, 15-plus 100 for Devontae, 10 touchdowns, 4.8. Tevin Coleman, 16 touchdowns. Receiving, Julio Jones, 1,178. 8 touchdowns. Taylor Gabriel, 11 touchdowns of just under 1,000 yards. Sacks, pretty damn good. Defense, now let's take a look at this. And Brooks Reed leads that team again. Trufant did pretty well. Matt Bryant. So what was our ranks? We were number 4-0. Defensively, second. I really don't care about the awards too much, but let's go to the Browns, see what they did. This really is more of a Falcons what if, not really a Browns. Because the Browns, I mean, if they didn't get all those trade picks and they were to say, let's take Julio Jones, it really would not have changed them that much. They're still missing a lot other talent. They're still missing a quarterback. They're just about missing everything. Let's just be honest with that. Sacks, 16.5 for Myles Garrett. He's a beast in this game. Kicking, that's like one positive thing for the Browns is they're kicking. That is desperate. 7-9 though for the Browns. That's actually not too bad. It wouldn't surprise me if the second team is actually worse for the Browns, because 7-9 is a very rare sighting for them. And it appears we're going to get the glitch again where it simulates everything. Yep, good job, EA. I don't know why it does that for these. Like, if I'm doing a rebuild, it doesn't mess it up. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like an anti, like, I don't know, like, legacy thing? Because I think the legacy is still, like, the majority of the achievements in this game. Not that EA would really care, but who won the Super Bowl? Targeting a big free safety? Are we doing that? Who won the Super Bowl? So, the Patriots win 51-45 over the Eagles. Can I see how we lost? Got a home win over the Panthers. Don't think they made the playoffs, so I don't think it's them. I don't know. It doesn't show anything, so we might have lost week 1 in the in the playoffs. Either way, that's beside the point. Let's go on to the more interesting part. Always the more interesting part. The actual adjusted reality, as I like to call it. Where are we? It was like the first one, wasn't it? It was up here. So everyone can, argue for themselves, say what you want to say. I did not take the best players they could have had. I took some decent ones, but here is the roster, and I will actually need to go back to the NFL draft results. So you can see the team is, I would say, probably upgraded because you got, Jeffrey, Cobb, whatever. But let's take a look at the defense because this is the very first pick, and the Ravens are sad for it. But the first pick overall was the 27th pick for the Falcons, which obviously was traded, whatever. But the 26th pick was supposed to be the Ravens pick, but they ran out of time, forfeiting their spot 1 away to the Chiefs, which was traded from the Browns, which is obviously the original Falcons pick. So because of the time expiring, the Ravens lose Jimmy Smith and the Falcons gain him, upgrading the cornerback core over time quite a bit. As you can tell, he's playing really well this year, and overall, he's been a pretty decent player over the years. So now with the 59th pick, the Browns, of course, from Atlanta, take Greg Little. The Falcons, they are needing a wide receiver, so who do they take? They take little old Randall Cobb, who was selected 64th by my Green Bay Packers. Great steal there. And with the 124th pick, the Browns take Owen Marichik, the fullback. He was actually on the team for quite a while, but it is the Falcons pick instead. I could have, given them anyone, like Julius Thomas, whatever, Richard Sherman, but I decided to take Marcus Cannon from the Patriots, who took him at 138, which gives them, right now, a full offensive line of nothing but great players. And then we are on to the last 2 picks. 22nd overall from the Browns was Brandon Weeden, of course. Not a great player at all. But what are the Falcons missing more than ever because of not taking Julio? A wide receiver. Randall Cobb's nice. He's okay, but he was never built as a number 1, and that's what he would have been in Atlanta. They need a guy to replace the void that they never had, technically, with Julio Jones. So they take the pick. The Bears take 45th, which is a huge reach, but they do it anyways to select Alshon Jeffrey. And there it is, starter right there, 89 overall, 6'3", not quite the freak Julio is, but still a great talent. And then the 4th round pick that the Browns took, I believe they took, I can't tell if it's James Michael Johnson. Oh wait, no, it wasn't. It was the Vikings took 118, Jarius Wright. They traded from Browns. So instead of Jarius Wright going to the Vikings at 118, the Falcons dropped down a little bit, and they select Brandon Marshall, the linebacker from the Denver Broncos. Nothing too spectacular from him. He was okay early in his career. He's fallen off a little bit by a little bit each year. I thought he was older at 27, but obviously with Deion Jones now, it's a little late. The Brandon Marshall would have been on their team quite a bit longer than Deion Jones has been, so their linebacker core is a lot better than it was. So if we're going to argue that this is truly the draft that the Falcons would have achieved, we are probably going to be looking at a team that is much better. It's ironic is normally with these kind of redos, I have to go to the other team and cut all these players, but sadly for the Browns, I don't think they have a single one of the players that they drafted. Phil Taylor's gone, Brandon Weeden's gone. Almost every single player you can think of that they drafted those years is gone. So they do have Julio Jones now. Don't know how that's really going to affect them, but the Falcons, like I said, it's, anyone can say what they want. It's kind of a an entertainment video. But let's say because the Falcons are great at drafting, they draft some decent players. The ones that I selected, you know, even take one of them away. Take Randall Cobb away. Whatever you want to do. Let's see how much this would affect if they truly made these great selections. So without Julio Jones, I know Sim is very inconsistent. The Falcons go 9-7 instead. The offensive line does pretty well, it would appear. Alshon Jeffrey goes up. Brandon Marshall goes up a little bit. Let's take a look, though. 9-7. They do take the division 9-7, so we're going to argue that it was just as good, if not better, than last season. Matt Ryan, he actually did better. I believe he had like 7 more picks on the other roster. Maybe not. Either way, it's still a great season, very accurate. Devontae Freeman does a bit worse. Tevin Coleman also a little bit worse. Receiving, though, Randall Cobb and Jeffrey. Jeffrey did just as well as Julio, maybe even a little bit better. And then Randall Cobb did better than Taylor Gabriel. And Sanu almost got 1,000 yards as well. So considering we can argue that this was a worse season for them, the offense seemed to do a little bit better. Do we have anything on Marcus Cannon? 6 sacks allowed. That's not too bad. Sacks on the defense. 15 for Brooks Reed. He does a little bit better. Not like a whole lot changed, I suppose. More lockdown from Jimmy Smith and a better number 2 with Brandon Marshall. Offensive rank number 9, which it was number 4 before, so we can see that drop. Defense was number 2. It is now 26th. Let's go take a look at the Browns now. Ooh, one first thing. First things first, let's take a look at their season record. They were 7-9 before. What are they now? So the Browns with Julio Jones go 3-12-1. Simulation is a freaking anomaly. Big time. What the hell? Deshaun Watson won MVP? Straight up MVP. Wow. I feel sorry for the Browns. They could have had Deshaun Watson. They could have had Carson Wentz. They had so many quarterback options, and it's just not worked out. Receiving, Deshaun Kaiser throws a ton more picks. Rushing, can't remember at all. Julio Jones gets outshined by Josh Gordon. That is funny as hell. No touchdowns really at all in comparison. Defensively, let's take a look at sacks. Myles Garrett does 1.5 sack better. Rest of the team is useless. 10 picks for Jason McCourty, though. That is something. Let's go on, though, to simulate the playoffs, see if we do any better. It looked as if we lost the first game in the last sim. Here we take 1 win against the Seahawks. That's a huge win as well. Going against the Rams now, winning that. Conference championship against the Giants. Could happen, very unlikely, though. And we lose to the Giants. Not bad, though. Still, you know, it would appear we went further with this team than the other one. And the simulation was a real anomaly, like I said, because you could see that the Browns did way worse with the exact same team, but a way better wide receiver. And then we technically did, our overall was +3 than it was with Julio Jones. So, you know, the simulation is very inconsistent. But let me know what you guys think. Did the Falcons win the trade? I would say so, because obviously Julio's a beast. But with that same thought, would the Falcons have drafted much better than the Browns? Because the Browns, they got a lot of draft picks out of it. And who knows if they would have selected Julio Jones. They could have went with, like, Jake Locker. I think that was the draft he was in. But, yeah, I mean, this was a fun one. Thanks again to, I'm hoping I'm saying your name right, Zane, or Zane. I don't know. But this was a kind of a fun one. I want to do more of these types of, like, super trades. Don't know if I can go and do, like, Ricky Williams or anything like that. But these are kind of fun, you know, like Julio Jones. Huge trade. It was. Of course, if you look at both, Browns just completely lost. They should have done something better with those picks, but it's the Browns after all. Never going to get better. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any suggestions for any other videos, you know, you'll be featured in the video. You'll at least be mentioned. Maybe I'll forget to put the actual comment, but I'll mention you for sure. And we can, you know, get your idea into the game. You know, if I've already seen it before, I've already done it before. Sorry, I'm not going to do it, but I will respond to your comment. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys come back for next video. But until next video, see ya!